Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, September 4th. So today we have the moon in Taurus energy. It always kind of grounds us out, anchors us into the present moment. We're very aware of our physical bodies, of our physical surroundings, of the physical circumstances that, yes, feel very uncomfortable, but are challenging us to pluck out the silver linings, to really find the smaller details in life that bring us a sense of comfort and familiarity while we're kind of moving through this very uncomfortable adjustment phase. Now, considering the fact that Venus, who rules over this Taurus energy, just went direct here last evening, and considering the fact that Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings, is going retrograde here today, almost switching out that particular position with Venus, Jupiter is already in Taurus energy. So this is definitely going to feel a little bit wonky. Venus ruling over the Taurus energy. She is now direct in Leo energy, really getting in touch with that heart space, really getting real and raw and authentic with the change of heart, the change of mind, and now the change of scenery that she must make. This is going to give us a very low, grounded, logical, practical approach to what it is that we have to maneuver, rearrange, and restructure in our lives. Jupiter going retrograde, taking that energy inward, we have a lot to reflect upon. We have a lot to reevaluate. We have a lot of growth that we absolutely have to go through before we can actually move forward and create new opportunities for growth, expansion, and abundance out in our exterior realm. This is a time for us to realize how far we've come, what it is that we've gone through, where it is that we have grown, what it is that we have healed, what it is that we've been in the pursuit of that now we're no longer passionate to pursue. This is a time for us to really kind of focus on whether or not we are pivoting, if you will, with our goals, with our dreams, and with our visions as well. Now, this is a wonky energy. I'm going to recommend that you take a listen to September's energy forecast in its entirety, Venus's astro forecast of going direct, Jupiter's retrograde astro forecast, and bust out your Virgo season e-guide and kind of capture what it is that you're currently dealing with as we do this switcheroo in energies. Now, there are 12 different aspects here today, and 9 of them are going to involve the moon in Taurus. So we kick things off with the moon in Taurus energy, making a positive interaction with Mars. Now, Mars is the god of war. He rules over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger. He is in Libran energy right now. He had to give up his weapon of choice, the sword that he yields so easily to cut through the crap, the blockages, the challenges in life in order to advance himself in the pursuit of happiness, in the pursuit of his new passions and desires, for the intellectual battlefield where he kind of has to sort through, process, reevaluate what needs to be done, what needs to be said, what needs to be talked about, where we can renegotiate, where it is that we have to compromise, but mostly where it is that we're still trying to just keep the peace. We're trying not to rock the boat in a lot of ways. Now, the moon in Taurus energy, considering the fact that Taurus energy and Libran energy have one thing in common, and that is Venus, and Venus just went direct in this Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac, you best believe that we are going to have a lot to contemplate. The moon in Taurus giving us an opportunity to stand very firmly, very present in the here and now, really gauge what it is that we need to change, especially where our relationship and money matters are concerned. We're getting fired up, inspired, passionate about where it is that we have to make extra effort to balance the scales of our heart and our head, our inner realm, our outer realm, and with some particular relationship dynamics that, of course, has been asking for our attention, needs to change, needs to transform. All for the better, putting us in a more powerful placement of having control over our lives and really putting ourselves in a powerful placement to see what it is that we actually want, what we actually need, what we actually deserve. Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, ruler of communication, ruler of how we express ourselves, who is currently retrograde in its place of power in Virgo energy, is going to trine, beautiful interaction, with Jupiter, who is preparing to go retrograde, but not yet. He's still standing very still. This particular interaction is beautiful. We get the trine because Taurus energy is an earth sign, Virgo energy is an earth sign. They're working together to try and help us stabilize our physical realm, to help us fix and repair, resolve, if you will, areas of concern that we've been very focused on. Now, granted, the mental plane is about to pop off with a new narrative, with a new focus, with new ideas on how it is that we, yes, are going through growing pains, but how we're going to rearrange and reconstruct, redesign our physical realms to start mirroring back some of the changes that we've already decided within ourselves we need in order to grow, in order to reach the next level of our potential, of our purpose, of our mission. Now, Jupiter, very optimistic, very confident, but in this Taurus energy, very low, slow, steady, and stable. Now, this is going to bring big ideas to the mental plane, a more confident, more optimistic point of view. We're plucking out the silver linings, if you will. We are focused on what is working instead of what isn't working. And of course, pouring more time and energy into stabilizing the things that are working, the things that do bring us happiness, joy, safety, and security. We want to make sure that those things are anchored in while we're going through this very weird adjustment period of trying to cleanse, trying to purge, trying to release some of the energies, some of the circumstances, some of the people that, of course, are not contributing to this next new phase of self, this next new chapter of karma that we will be moving into. The moon in Taurus going to trine, beautiful interaction with the sun in Virgo energy. So this is a similar type of situation because, of course, Taurus energy, Virgo energy, they are earth energies. We are, emotionally speaking, the moon, realizing where it is that we are holding on to the old for dear life because it's old, tried, tested, and true. It's comfortable, it's familiar, it's predictable. But yet, standing in this present moment, realizing where it is that we're actually blocking the energy, we're blocking the progress. The sun shining a bright light in this Virgo energy, showing us where it is that we kind of have to rearrange and reevaluate our physical realms, our physical lives. How are we moving throughout our day? What are the smaller little habits that we're doing in the run of our day that are contributing to the greater, grander plan? Regardless, there's not going to be so much futuristic thinking with this aspect as there is going to be just trying to feel happy, content, and comfortable here in this present moment. At the exact same time that the moon is trining the sun, the moon in Taurus will also be semi-squaring, creating a little bit of a tension, a little bit of a conflict with Neptune, who is in his rulership retrograde in this Pisces energy. This is our intuition. This is our soul self. This is dreams. This is insight. This is a lot of undoing, a lot of endings, a lot of closures. And so just as we are trying to be content in this present moment, focusing in on all the things that are working, that are good, that we just experienced with both Mercury trining Jupiter, the moon trining the sun, equally, we are realizing where it is that we're scared as hell of letting go to the old. Even though we know that we have to, even though we know we've outgrown it, that we have to move on, that we're destined for bigger, better things, there is this fear, these doubts, these insecurities, that we don't know what we'll be left with if we walk away from the things that we know for certain that are predictable, that are there, that are tried, tested, and true. Again, this is kind of the metaphors, the analogies that I've been talking about, especially in the ascension forecast for this week. If you haven't listened to that, take a listen to that. But this is like we are holding on so tightly to the old that we don't have a hand free to answer the door when opportunity knocks. Right now, change and transformation is knocking on our door, and we just are screaming for somebody else to answer it because our hands are too tied up with making sure that we're not letting go of the old before something new and more promising shows up. And of course, that's not the way that the cosmos works. So then the moon gets into the boxing ring, squares off with Venus, its ruler. Venus rules over this Taurus energy that the moon is in. And Venus has just gone direct. She's not even really conscious as of yet. She just made it to the surface level of the earth from the pit, the dark pit that she just climbed her ass out of. She is trying to acclimate to the fresh air because she's been breathing, stagnant, dirty air in for the last 6 weeks. She's been breaking herself down, beating herself up. She finally got to the top, and instead of celebrating her and being triumphant moment in her saving herself and getting herself out of that dark pit, she's just kind of zoned out, just laying there, letting the sun beat down upon her. She realizes how broken and damaged and dirty she's gotten over the last 6 weeks, where it is now that she has to move at a very low and slow and steady pace to dust herself off and clean herself up and, get to walking, get back to her life. She has a new lease on life. She has work to do. She has to rearrange and restructure the physical circumstances in her life where routines, relationships, money matters, and long-term goals are concerned, because she's had a change of heart. She's had that change of heart because she didn't come out of that pit in the same version of herself that she went in as. And now the moon entering into the boxing ring with Venus, we're definitely fighting it out. We're fighting it out about what we feel good about, what we don't feel good about, where we have had a change of heart, what that means for us. And again, I've been talking about how doing the right thing is often doing the hard thing, and we don't have the energy right now because we're not acclimated to this new space, to this new timeline, to this new soul contract. We're not acclimated yet. And so there's still a lot of confusion. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of, I'm going to say, weight and pressure put on our heart space, because the moon, of course, in Taurus energy has us very grounded in the present moment. But this present moment doesn't really feel good, and it reminds Venus of all the things that she has to kind of do on her to-do list here in Virgo season in order to clean up the environment that she's living in, clean up those relationship dynamics, clean up those money matters, clean up and clearly define what those long-term plans now are and what they look like. So we are going to have a battle royale of the heart space, so to speak. We talked about the heart chakra activations in the Ascension forecast for this week. So again, continuously go back, take a listen if you're having some uncomfortability, some dysfunction in your physical body, because it is energy related. 8:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is when Jupiter goes retrograde. So I did do a full astro forecast on this event. I'm going to invite you to go listen to that. Download your zodiac forecast if you haven't already, so that you understand where Jupiter is transiting through your chart, the area of life that is going to be most impacted by this retrograde. All the information that you need is out there already. Please just try to stay ahead of this energy dynamic. The moon is then going to interact in a positive way, lucky for us, with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde in this Pisces energy. What I love about this is that it's giving us a real, raw, authentic look at our physical realms from a logical, practical, grounded perspective, with still blending in the intuitive insight, the downloads, the wants, needs, and desires that are now coming alive within us. Yes, there is this, I'm going to say, focus on the bridge that we've been standing upon, where it is that it's no longer safe, where it is that it's no longer stable, and where it is that we have to start building the framework of the new bridge that will get us from where it is that we're at, where it is that we desire to be. But the moon in Taurus just has us so locked in and anchored in, grounded into this present moment, that we're just kind of evaluating, how great this bridge has been to us. Where it is that, years ago we were praying for the current bridge that we're standing on that is currently falling apart, where we prayed for that bridge to actually come into our awareness, come into our environment. And the amount of growth, the amount of healing that we've done while being able to be safe, secure, and supported on this bridge that is now kind of falling apart, if you will. And a lot of this has to do with belief systems, because of course Saturn being retrograde in this Pisces energy is about collapsing the old world, the old belief systems, the old perspectives, the old understandings that continuously have us in a looping, wounded, ego programming behavior. We have to build something real and raw and vulnerable and new. And we're just starting to give thanks and give appreciation to this bridge that is currently falling apart in order for us to have the inspiration, if you will, to start building this new bridge that will take us from now into this next chapter of building towards our karmic mission, our karmic purpose, our soul's potential. The moon in Taurus, then going to trine, beautiful interaction with Mercury, who is retrograde in the Virgo energy. So again, the trine is because it's earth and earth working together to stabilize, to harmonize. What we're getting here is the moon, our heart space, and Mercury, our head space, getting on the same page, which, you know what, we're going to take. It may not last long, but we're going to take it for as long as it wants to last. It feels good to be grounded in logical, practical understandings of where it is that we're currently at, where it is that we came from, where it is that we desire to go. Yes, we still have a lot of confusion, but we're okay sitting in this confusion. It's not making us panic. It's not, frightening us in any way. It's just like, you know what? I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. Don't know what 4 hours from now is going to bring. But right now, I feel good about it. I feel like I am, stabilizing in my emotions. I have a good focus, a good narrative. Again, may I say, it may not last very long, but we're going to take it for as long as it does last. Now, 2:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon in Taurus is going to come up to, bump into, conjunct Jupiter, who just went retrograde in this Taurus energy. So let me just say that this is going to be a dramatic shift in attitude, in mood, in focus, in perspective. Yes, Jupiter is inward, so now we're taking a good look inward. And the moon being in Taurus energy is trying to show us where it is that we have to kind of flip the script, flip the narrative, where it is that we have to see things from a different set of eyes, where it is that we have the opportunity right now to really kind of be centered, be anchored, be present, be appreciative, plucking out that silver linings, really tapping into the optimism and the confidence that Jupiter lends us. Now, it's going to take some time before we kind of feel the subtle energies of Jupiter's retrograde, but right now, this is almost like we are reevaluating the renewal of our soul, of our spirit, of our soul contracts. There's this really, I'm going to say, semi-magical feeling that comes over us mid-afternoon. And a lot of this is because of the moon and Mercury being on the same page. And then, of course, the moon conjuncting with Jupiter, really magnifying for us where we have hopes and we have dreams and we have wishes and we are renewing our self-confidence, our self-esteem again. There's a lot going on, but it's very stuck in the inner realm. So this is going to be a dramatic change of attitude, of mood for the positive, if you will. And again, may I mention, it may not last very long. So 8:31 p.m., we have the moon interacting with Chiron. Now, not saying that this is going to be the downward spiral, but Chiron is the wounded healer. He is retrograde in this Aries energy, helping us to address the areas within ourselves that are blocking us from making the kind of growth and progress that we were hoping to be in at this particular situation scenario of the calendar. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing because it is a semi-good aspect that will show us where it is that we have grown, where it is that we have healed, where it is that we have improved certain situations and circumstances, especially getting to know ourselves again and strengthening the connection within ourselves, within our identity, within how it is that we show up for the world, for the people around us. However, it's Chiron. Chiron is like a double-edged sword. Just when we are grateful for the life lessons that, are creating the betterment, the improvement, the advancement of our soul self, we are reminded of the pain and the hardships that we had to go through in order to gain this perspective and understanding. And so, like I said, double-edged sword. Yes, we're growing, we're healing, we're improving, but we're also very reflective on the shit show that we've had to go through in order to grow, heal, and improve. So then Venus, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, money, who is no longer retrograde, but still kind of standing still in this present moment of trying to kind of wake up, if you will. I often say, like, if you kind of understand that retrogrades are like you're drugged, you're under the influence of something, you move into that unconscious space, that unconscious realm. Any planet, when they go direct, needs a little bit of time to kind of piece together, oh, okay, I'm actually living in reality. I'm no longer in the underworld. I'm no longer in a dream state. Oh, okay, those thoughts that I had, that was actually real. Oh, that experience I had, that wasn't real, but I did gain some insight from it. So it's going to take time for us to piece it all together. But Venus is interacting with the sun in Virgo in such a way that is going to illuminate for us some very strong epiphanies, some aha moments, some very strong emotions that are coming up to remind us of the journey that we just had over this last 6 weeks of Venus being in the underworld. And in true typical Virgo fashion that the sun is currently in, we're healing, we're fixing, we're resolving. We are understanding what new aspects need to be built before we can collapse the old ones. And that's okay. It's where change and transformation starts. It's not so much about cutting out all the old, because then you're going to be left with not knowing what it is that you're going to do, because you've just broken the neural pathways of your brain that have been, running and keeping you alive for the last God knows how long. Instead, what we need to do now, if we know that we have to make a dramatic change, which is either cutting something or cutting something out, someone out or off of our lives, then it's building something new as far as a new friendship goes, new relationship goes, or filling in the gaps of what it is that we've been reliant on those people, places, and things to fulfill in our life. So it's equally recognizing what we have to let go of, what we've outgrown, what we're moving away from, and understanding that it's going to be an easier change and transformation for us if we build something new in the place of the things that we haven't let go of as of yet. That's a much easier adjustment to make. So to talk about the bridge analogy, here we are standing on this bridge that is swaying back and forth and creaking, and we're really not very strong and confident in the strength that it has to continue to support us. But instead of just, jumping off the bridge into the water below, and knowing that we're going to have to make that change and transformation before the bridge collapses and, we're forced into kind of sinking or swimming, we're standing on this bridge being like, you know what, maybe we should be actively trying to build a new bridge before this one collapses and we're kind of stuck in the water below. So this is like a realization, because of the change of heart that we've had while Venus was retrograde. We know what we have to change. We know what we have to transform. We know what we have to end. We know what we have to let go of. However, it would be advisable if we started building new structures, new connections, new whatever it is, to fill the gaps that aren't currently there yet. This is like prevention, so that there isn't a huge gap of adjustment. It's just going to be an easier transition, letting go of something old and kind of, organizing and orienting yourself into something new. The last thing that we got going on here today is the moon in this Taurus energy, making a little bit of a conflict, a little bit of a tension-filled interaction with Mars. So you may remember we kicked off the day with a positive interaction with Mars. We're going to end the day off with a not so great interaction with Mars. So what this means is that there will likely be a lot of, I'm going to say, stubbornness coming up within us, irritability, indecisiveness. We realize now that we got to build the bridge, but now we're like, oh, okay, well, what kind of bridge are we going to build? What's it going to look like? Let's take a look at the design aspects. Let's take a good look at the material list. Where do we have to start first? Now we're starting to percolate, but now we're very indecisive, considering the fact that Mars is in Libra energy, the most indecisive energy that of the zodiac wheel. Now we're kind of like debating the pros and cons of what we just realized that we have to build before we kind of end and terminate some of the things that we're looking to change, transform, and get rid of. So this is going to bring up the stubbornness, mostly because Taurus energy, super stubborn. It's a fixed earth sign. We have no want, need, or desire to change. We're going to resist the change, even though we've come up with the changes and transformations ourselves. We're still going to fight them, right? Again, it's like holding on to dear life to the old and not having a hand freed up to answer the door when opportunity knocks. So it's almost like now we're getting frustrated. The stubbornness is coming in. It's kicking in. We are uninspired. We're unmotivated. The indecision is creating all of this frustration and agitation and irritation within us. We're having a hard time staying grounded in the present moment, focused on all of the beautiful things, all of the things that bring us happiness and joy and safety and security, because now we're thinking about this damn bridge. We're thinking about all that it's going to entail to build this damn bridge. And now there are so many things to choose from that we're indecisive about the bridge that we need to build. So this is kind of ending the day on a little bit more of a confusing note than we started it on. However, confusion is the name of the game right now. Lean all the way into it. Because may I remind you, clarity only comes after confusion. A breakthrough only comes after a breakdown. And I dare say, although I'm not a betting girl, I dare say we can all agree that this is a time of breakdown and it is a time of high potent confusion, which means that the breakthrough and the clarity is just around the corner.